Welcome to Tales, Tunes, and Tomfoolery starring Jerry Springer, along with Gene Galvin and me. I'm Megan Hills. We're recorded live in front of a brilliant studio audience at the Folk School Coffee Parlor in Ludlow, Kentucky.
My daddy came
And here he is, ladies and gentlemen, Jerry Springer.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. That is awfully nice. A vessel burst in my eye.
It looks a little scary.
It
It's all
looks
red.
horrible.
Yeah, doesn't look good.
Because normally I'm drop dead good looking.
Well, yeah, it's so true. It's difficult to sit next to you some weeks.
I'm getting
And I
a
mean
call.
that.
You guys mind if I take this?
No, but it's just, you what?
I'm getting a call.
Oh, you're getting a call.
I got it on. Hey,
Yes,
how
sorry.
many people saw Jerry Springer on Drop the Mic last Sunday, 10:30 Eastern Time? Some beach.
That did not go over well.
No. I'm
what I
not
expected.
sure, frankly, and I mean this with the utmost respect, that this is the demographic of that show.
For whole
This
show-
does not look like a rap
Dropped
audience.
No, that show is hilarious.
It is, and having you on a rap battle of any kind really special.
Rapping is my life.
Yeah. Okay, if you didn't see it, if you go to jerryspringer.com, if you're in this audience here at the Folk School Coffee Parlor, don't do it because we got kind of a thin bandwidth for the Wi-Fi here. And
Is that what
we're
we
on
tell people?
Facebook Live. Everybody wave to Facebook
Hey.
Live. Hi. Anyway,
It is a popular show among young people.
it's a fantastic
It's
show.
great.
And
It's
it's
really
on our website. We
Yeah.
put it on our website. And so you can see it now, and it's very funny. So here was the deal. Jerry was up against, it's a what would you call it?
It's
Kind of
a
a rap
battle.
smackdown,
Yeah.
rap battle.
God, Gene.
And-
You get two
and it's,
people to rap
a rap
against each other.
smackdown, is that
Well,
what
it's
you
kind
were
of wrestling. No, but it's so Jerry had this battle with Ricki Lake, so 2 daytime talk show host. Very funny. And before
appropriate
Jerry,
to
It
be
wasn't
rapping.
pretty.
oh, it's very entertaining. And before it, so it's a half-hour show, and the first half was
Shaq O'Neal.
Yeah.
with Shaq O'Neal and Ken Jeong, who is
Yeah.
from
The
the
Hangover.
trilogy of the Hangover trilogy. He's very funny. Can you imagine that? Because he's a little dude and Shaq's like a big dude, and that was very funny. So Jerry did drop the mic, and I got to tell you, Megan, he is good. He was good on that.
Well,
He
is
was
a-
good.
it was
You were
pathetic.
really playing fast and loose with that word. Good.
No. You watch this. But it did, as I was watching it, I
was
thought,
horrible.
Megan, if you and me, it pissed me off because the way this works
Again.
is, again, they ask people, they pull people forward to have their moments and to make some money and to be on a show, and they never ask like regular people,
Yeah.
like you and me.
Well.
Could you imagine how many people would have watched if they knew you were on?
Yeah, me and Gene battling it out at 10:30 on Sunday night.
Wait a second.
We could do our
Wait a gold dang second, Megan.
Oh, we got a rap battle right
rap
here.
battle right here.
Drop me a beat, Megan.
Yeah, that's
Really?
what they
Let's
say.
do
Can
it.
Can you do that, Jerry? I have to do this. I'm
Yeah.
gonna get spit all over your microphone.
What are they? Yeah.
Let me get it.
I saw Jerry Springer on the Drop the Mic show. He was beating Ricki Lake with a real dope flow.
No, stop!
But no one asked me if I got game. They think if I go big time, I'll come up all lame. It's
my
what I've always said, us little people lose while the rich get richer. Catfish, give me some booze. Not coffee, I need some booze.
Yeah. And
No, he's not even.
Is this?
this,
We are sorry for everyone that offended.
yeah. Hey, now how many of you feel sorry that you missed that show Sunday night? Yeah.
Because it wasn't too
Let
far
me ask
off.
you
was-
something.
yes.
When you did that,
Yes.
it looked as if, because you had stuff, verses, like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
And you
There are
alternated
3
with
verses.
Ricki Lake.
Right. She goes for a verse and then,
So-
attacking me and then I go. And it's kind of like these roasts where what you say is
Yeah.
really insulting to the other person, all in fun, but it
Well, it started. Have you ever seen? I don't know if you guys ever seen 8 Mile. Is that in your genre? the Eminem movie from the early thousands?
Oh, of course.
Of course not.
I've seen
That's what it is. It's all about the rap battle.
Yeah, I was
It's a
around
real
in the
thing.
first 1,000.
That's true. That's true.
That was really early.
Eminem and Brittany Murphy. It was some good cinematic
Yeah.
history right there.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
And is it all scripted out? Like when you landed there and walked in,
Yes.
how is that?
Well,
how,
they
how
give
do they
you.
do it?
Well, they give you a draft of something, and then you put your own stuff.
Oh, you didn't freestyle.
So you edit it.
Then.
Oh no, there's no. And there's a big screen, so you're really, while I'm doing it, I'm not looking directly at her face. I'm looking right
the
off.
screen right after.
Yeah, so you
It's
you
very
can
It's a
tell
fun
You guys
show.
have to
I
watch
really
it.
do
But
like the show.
the thing is, you've got to perform it like you're.
Like you're a
But what's so
rapper.
stupid is, you don't know this, but I'm not from the hood,
That is really shocking.
and just watching an old man up there trying to rap.
And specifically you, Jerry. It's
Yes,
just-
specifically me.
You know, it
pretty
occurred to
good.
me, we have two things on our website. We have that, and that makes the point that you just made, but also making that point is the hip hop thing that we have on there of Jerry
yeah.
Springer doing hip hop.
Oh, my God.
So you got to look at both of those. Jerry
But
Springer.
now, in fairness,
Not if you like the genre of rap. You don't have to.
Yeah.
and I need to say this, I won, but she was much better. In other words,
Did you bring the drop the mic trophy? They gave you a trophy. It looked like a gold
yeah,
microphone.
and it
or
doesn't
something.
even work. It's just hello testing.
Also on purpose.
Yeah, yeah.
By design.
No,
here.
that's in the in my trophy chest.
And your trophy chest.
Do you have a trophy
Case.
case? Do you have a trophy case at home?
No, I don't.
For all of those
I
sport
do, but
awards you
all we
got?
do is dust it. I never won anything.
Also shocking.
You have
prowess.
you have a Maserati, and I heard a rumor, and I don't know if it's true, but I hear that your Maserati is going to be for sale. That's what I've heard.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
that's not
I hope
true.
Richard's not listening. But,
Sorry, buddy.
yeah.
why
Well, I
couldn't
don't drive. I don't drive it. Mickey won't, and Richard's too young. So what's the point?
So-
It sits there.
Why was it purchased?
I didn't know it was a Maserati.
Are you serious?
You never heard that story?
No.
I am so late. This is God's truth.
Oh my God. And they let you
Mickey
go back.
has had, I'm driving around in this. In fairness, we don't buy a lot of cars. I mean, I had a Bentley, but I had one for 19 years.
Right.
And then I got a new one that I've had now for 10. So I always drive that. That's the only, I really do love it. But I'm not a collector of cars, or I don't particularly know anything about them. It's just comfortable. So I realize it's expensive, but it's only one car. So probably the amount of money I spend on cars compared to most families isn't that much more, because we don't buy a car every 3 years. Mickey, on the other hand, had a BMW for like 18 years.
Yeah.
And I said, honey, this is embarrassing. You have to get a new car.
She's driving the beater.
Oh, she
BMW beater.
Beat her
will
up to
not
the gated
spend a
community.
penny. So finally, she says, okay, because it was breaking down and that. And so we go shopping. We're going to get it. So we go to all these dealerships. She goes, nah, that's too fancy. I can't drive that. She's very conscious of that. So I thought it said Jaguar. And I thought, well, that's a pretty nice car.
Yep.
And, how about if we get that? Would you consider that? She says, well, I'll drive it. It is, at least isn't that flashy, it isn't ostentatious. It's a beautiful car. But, she'll go,
Yeah.
but this Jaguar dealer, I didn't see the other part of the sign that it was also a Maserati dealer.
I have
So
that
I
problem
go
all the time.
into the showroom.
Yeah, right.
This is just before lunch. I go into the showroom and walk, and there's this beautiful car.
Mm-hmm.
And so I say, let's take that one.
And it's not at all flashy. It's just bright blue and
Oh, it's unbelievable. So Mickey said, no. She said, I'm not getting in that. And, my 70th birthday was coming up. This was 4 years ago. Why don't you get it? That'll be,
Yeah.
And I said, well, if we get it, then that'll be my 70th, 71st, 72nd, 73rd, 70th, 4 birthdays in a row kind of thing. So I start, and they start giving me the papers and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then it said it was a Maserati. Huh. And I didn't know that's, it's another name of a car. Well, it could have been a Jaguar.
you don't deserve to have the money you have. That is disgusting.
But I did offer to, when they sit down to negotiate a price, I said, should I leave a tip? I'm a bad negotiator. They sit down and they tell you what it is. And I guess the theory is that if you have to, if you're going to ask and start, then you don't.
Nickel and diamond on a Maserati, you're probably,
But the point is, it's unbelievable going like from 0 to 6. And the pickup is amazing and it makes a loud noise when you step in it, which Richard loves. But it's totally useless. Where can you drive, 150 miles an hour? What's the point? You're going along, and everyone laughs at you because you're just going 3 miles an hour waiting for the next green light. You're stuck in traffic.
in the Maserati.
And so I've had it for 4 years, and maybe it has 1,000 miles. I don't think so. I never drive it. It just looks too...
Until you sell that, if you need someone to come down and drive it, you just let me know. I'll be more than happy to help
I think
you
I
out.
have an even bigger solution. Why couldn't it become the podcast car? That's called a spit take, by the way. But that wasn't
Get one
planned.
of those cool wraps
Why
that they
couldn't
put on the cars.
Why couldn't it become the podcast
What, and you
car?
put the letters on the side?
I'll put a magnetic sign on the side.
Put some bumper stickers on it.
But no,
With a phone
seriously,
number.
I'll tell you what. Catfish,
Podcast.com.
he's back behind the bar here at the coffee shop. David is here. Megan's here. I'm here. I would keep like a clipboard, and there'd be a sign-up sheet to drive it. And then
Maria
you call
can
me,
use it
and,
for
and
gigs,
Megan,
yeah.
if there's an opening, then if there is one, then I'll let you know. And same for David and Catfish.
I think
And
you guys can get your equipment in there pretty easily.
It's,
Yeah.
I don't think we.
it's
can
a
afford
car
the
for you. It's a
insurance.
car for younger people. Because
Well,
if you're
we're
an
much
old
younger.
person driving that, then it just looks like you're trying to make it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's just
yeah.
something inappropriate.
so it was not a good purchase, you're saying. You didn't make a good purchase.
I
on that
didn't know
day.
what I was getting. I'm pleading ignorance, which works for me a lot of times.
Fair enough. Well, you could see that we're having some trouble paying bills here. So I have
We're liquidating
arranged.
things
It's
here.
an idea that really came from Jerry, our newest commercial, and we're about to produce it, but I want to kind of tease it a little bit. And you can maybe contact me through the website if you want one of these. But we are repping for a company called Turbo Chair. And this is, look, Jerry's getting a bit older, and I'm about 10 years behind him, but I'm up there too. So, but because I feel him, but so look, have you seen those commercials for chairs you sit in that ride up the banister if you can't climb the steps?
Yeah.
And I watch those commercials and I'm thinking I'd like to have one of those, but they go so damn slow.
So Gene's idea was
Well, we've hooked up with a company that has a chair, it's called a Turbo Chair, and it has a gasoline engine on it.
A combustion engine.
So
right
it can
inside
go
your
really
home.
fast.
Internal combustion
Internal
engine.
combustion engine.
Yeah,
for
we
your
looked at
own.
electric, but we think the demographic, these are like Harley guys. Like I
wanna
have
hear this
Harleys.
vroom
And you
going up
kind
the
of
chair.
want to hear it. It's like the Maserati. And
You know what? You could incorporate your other brilliant marketing idea of your elevators, stand-up comedians. You could make
that
little,
didn't work very well.
It didn't work out well. but you could do-
Elevator comics. No,
Elevator
we
comics.
didn't get a lot of work on that.
Oh, that's weird.
right. Whatever happened to that?
Well, I never got any calls. The idea is we got the commercial on our website, jerryspringer.com. We're really promoting that tonight. But Elevator Comics is Jerry and I do stand-up comedy on elevators in hotels around the country.
Comfort
You
Inn.
get on, you don't know, you
Comfort
don't
Inn near
expect
you.
it. You step on the elevator and there's jokes.
And there's
we got a
jokes until you get
microphone, a spotlight on us.
Yeah.
We tested it in New York City, did we
And
not?
it worked.
It worked.
Because it's a crowded elevator. Gene's in one corner. They don't know where together. And I'm up where the buttons are. And everyone's packing. You know how everyone looks at the floor numbers at the top. And all of a sudden, Gene will say...
I ask questions. I'd say, Jerry Springer. You Jerry Springer? He says, yeah. And I say, boy, when older guy just got off the elevator and I saw you talking to him, what was that all about?
Oh, he's telling me it's the finest hearing aid money can buy. I said, yeah, what kind is it? He said 4 o'clock.
Hey, and then, so.
Well, if you're on an elevator and two people you think are strangers, and that's the answer. And we got a great way. And we stayed on the elevator all day.
We put a
vacation
tip
of his
jar.
life.
We had a tip jar out there, the whole thing.
Yeah. And if they got to get up like to the 18th floor.
Man, they've got the whole set.
Right. They can't get off. No one's going to get off the elevator just to avoid a joke.
We had a whole pay structure. You would. If you were like a Midwestern Holiday Inn, it didn't cost much to get it. So if we were working New York City, like the Ritz or something, that was pretty pricey.
I mean, it's
pretty pricey.
It's a solid $5 an hour at the
Yeah,
Ritz.
easily. But anyway, I didn't get many calls on that,
It's-
Megan, so I just kind of died.
Yeah,
but I think Turbo Chair is going to go. So
So you're saying you can really speed it up. You get on the turbo chair to go upstairs.
well, I'll tell you how fast you go.
Buckle
to
in.
ride this, the government requires you wear a helmet. So this goes fast.
Goggles and a
It's a
helmet.
fast.
to
It's
go up
called.
your-
It's Megan called Turbo Chair. For a
Okay.
reason.
I see
Now,
no
you
issues
are going
with
to
that.
feel horrible if someone in this audience actually has one. So you want to apologize?
I apologize. I apologize.
Gene could
But
have
go to
one.
jerryspringer.com next week and check out Turbo Chair.
Oh my God.
So anyway, that's what's coming.
Marketing brilliance at
Hey,
this table.
I want to ask you something on a more serious note. One last thing. Your assignment last week was to contact your agent to get in touch with Paul McCartney's agent because you met him on an airplane. He approached you, and it seems like it'd be pretty easy to get him on the show. Now, last week you met Shaquille O'Neal, Ricki Lake, Ken Jeong, all these people. Did you ask any of them, hey, why don't you come on my show sometime on my podcast? It's so easy.
Last night I met. I had dinner with Dwight Gooden.
You did?
Yeah, actually we did. Yeah, it was.
And again,
Again, it didn't come up.
Doesn't even dawn on him.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Doesn't
dawn
even
on
like
him.
it's
Yeah.
not even like a light bulb anymore.
do you remember
great picture with
Whispering
the
Beard Folk
One-
Festival?
one
we went
job.
down there
Oh.
for one reason,
That was
Megan. We
the-
drove a long way for Jerry to introduce the Tillers. The Tillers are
Local,
becoming
yeah.
nationally famous, actually have been for a while. They're just a great band, happen to be from Cincinnati. And Jerry goes up on stage to introduce the Tillers.
And two.
And I said to him before he walked up the steps, Jerry, remember, we came down here for one reason. When you're up there, say, hey, you got to listen to my podcast, jerryspringer.com.
which we were recording the following day there. Like
There.
all- it's what we were there to do.
So
He comes off the stage, Megan.
I did a great job.
How'd I do?
Because I was telling jokes, the crowd was really with me.
It was
then
also
you
11
said
o'clock
to
on a
me-
Saturday night at a music festival.
You came down here for one reason, you
And I
dipshit,
suddenly
you know. But
How could I?
We don't know, Jer.
we don't know. We don't know.
We don't know.
Maybe you know this. Was it a good idea to bomb Syria?
Oh, yeah. It was useless. When Trump sent the missiles to blow up those what turned out to be empty buildings, I say it was useless, and that's not to disparage the seriousness of Assad using chemical weapons. Obviously, that is horrific. But the response turned out to be all show. And what it really showed was our weakness, that we are not in a position and basically incapable to, at this point, influence anything that's going on in the Middle East. It's like what we did last year. You know, he sends a cruise missile to blow up a runway, and the next day they rebuilt the runway. This time blew up 3 sites that apparently, the accuracy, the military did its job. It hit every site perfectly with these smart bombs. But there was no political purpose. First of all, he announced to the world that it was coming, so get out of the way. And so even if there had been chemical weapons there, they would have moved it to where the Russians were, because we obviously weren't going to send missiles where the Russians are. Now, I'm not being a warmonger here. I'm not suggesting that we got to go in there and fight a war. But I am suggesting, on the first part, that this fake bravado is just reminding all the players in the Middle East, and frankly, all the people around the world, all the countries now, that it's a lot of bluster, what is coming out of this White House, that we're not engaged, that we just do these things for show, so it can be on cable news, shock and awe. You don't ever bomb chemical sites. Number one, for the obvious reason that if you do hit it and there are chemicals there, you basically have sent these deadly chemicals all into the atmosphere. So anyone within miles around will soon be dead. I mean, so what's that? So that's stupid to begin with. But secondly, one of the, if not the most deadly chemical weapon is chlorine. And every nation in the world has chlorine because it has to clean their water. So basically, if you want to use chemical weapons, you just use the chlorine that the government and the society already has. It can be made any place, in any building, in a residential neighborhood, any place. You make the chlorine and then you explode it and the chlorine goes and, people die. So it's such a horrible strategy in the first place. Now, other than the fact that obviously that doesn't work, there's several points to be made here. The first is that the real problem is Assad. Assad killed 500,000 of his people without chemical weapons. Just regular weapons just killed 500,000 of his citizens. He's turned 7 million of his citizens into internal refugees. In other words, they were thrown out of their areas. And they're refugees now. They're still in Syria, but they don't have homes. They're living out on the desert. And 5 million, and by the way, I may have the figures reversed. It may be 7 are international refugees and 5 are internal or vice versa. But anyway, millions of people are now, of his own people are now refugees because of what he has done, and he's killed 500,000 of them. That's the problem. So you say, well, then why didn't we bomb his castle, his buildings, kill him? Because, and that shows our weakness, we don't have a plan B. It would be Iraq and Libya all over again. We got rid of Hussein, rah, rah, oops, we now own the country. Who's going to take its place? Who's going to take Hussein's place? And of course, we were stuck there for a decade trying to figure out how that country can run with all, there's no entity. And the warring factions, the warring tribes are at each other's throats. And we had no plan in place of what to happen the day Hussein was gone. In Libya, the same thing. Get rid of Gaddafi, wonderful. And now it's become a haven for terrorists all over the world. And we have no backup plan in Syria with all the warring factions. So again, this policy that America now has of bomb and then get out, the world knows that they're not trusting us anymore. They know we can blow them up, but then we're not going to stay around. We can't get any of these groups to really make a commitment to us because they know when it gets tough, we're going to pull out. Not all of this can be blamed on Trump. This is in our DNA. America, from its very inception, is basically an isolationist country that in times of crisis gets brought into the world, but whenever the people have a choice, we don't want to be a part of it. We are the most reluctant superpower in world history. Every great empire through every age, Roman Empire, Spanish Empire when they controlled the seas, the British Empire where the sun never settled on it during the 19th century. Every great superpower wants to get as much control, as much territory, as much force as possible to run the world, except the United States of America. We never had designs on ruling the world. American people basically would like to be left alone. Oh, we'd like other countries to buy our goods, but we want to be left alone. George Washington, in his farewell address, talked about let's not get involved in any tangled alliances, international alliances, because he thought that would be bad. We didn't become a international superpower really until the end of the 19th century. Probably the Mexican-American War was the first time that we started to use some force in other places. But think about it. World War I. We were totally isolationist. The war started in 1914. President Wilson got reelected in 1916 by saying and the slogan was, he kept us out of the war. We were not going to get involved in World War I. And then when 1917, when the Germans sunk the Lusitania and our freighters and our ships and American citizens were getting killed, we finally got into the war. So we were in for the last year of the war, the last 8 months, really, in terms of our soldiers being over there. So that brought us into the world, and we were the biggest economic power, and so we did tip the balance towards the Allies. But as soon as the war was over, Wilson had his 14 points, how this was the war to end all wars. We were now going to have a world of peace. What happened? The American Congress and the American people said, no, we want nothing to do with the League of Nations. We're going to go back to our home and be isolationist again. And so for the next 20 years, America was isolationist. Now, all of a sudden, comes World War II. Hitler goes into Poland on September 1st of 1939. It wasn't until 2.25 years later, despite Churchill saying, Hitler's taking over Europe, Hitler's taking over England, for God's sakes, please, give us your ships, do something, come into the war, stop what's happening. Nothing. Until Pearl Harbor. Now we're in the war. The war ends, we're ready to go back to, that's it. But all of a sudden, there's the Soviet Union, and communism is starting to take over Eastern Europe and taking over the world. This would be a threat to us. So we had to rebuild Europe. We had the Marshall Plan. That got us involved a little bit. And then as communism was trying to take over more and more, we had the Korean War. Then the Vietnam War. Lyndon Johnson made up this story about how in the Gulf of Tonkin, an American ship was hit by the North Vietnamese, and that's why we had to go to war. And that was the beginning of the buildup of our troops in Vietnam. Then finally, America had enough of the Vietnam War. We didn't want to get involved anywhere. Any politician that would say, oh, we're not going to send American troops. We're not going to send American troops. And people like us loved that idea. Then came 9/11. We're back in the world again. Bush makes up this story, the administration makes up the story about their weapons of mass destruction, gets us back in. 10 years we've been stuck there. What I'm saying is we are, in our DNA, a country that doesn't want to run the world. And now comes Trump, and he wants America to totally withdraw from the world. Get out of our alliances, whether it be environmental, military, the heck with the United Nations, the heck with our trade treaties in Southeast Asia or in North America. And here's where I think we have to really think seriously about it. We can't rule the world anymore, even if we wanted to. We can blow up the world, but we can't run it anymore. In today's world, with mass media and social media and the interconnection of all nations, there's no way we can run the world. The question is, we can be a major influence. And the danger in Trump is that the only weapon we have right now is the bomb, which is why we do hit and run, bomb and withdraw. We don't have any diplomacy going anymore. We don't have a State Department. We don't have a Secretary of State. We don't have ambassadors. We have withdrawn from communicating with the rest of the world and trying to have multilateral arrangements so that hopefully we can lessen the tension that blows people up. It's not the perfect solution, but if we don't have diplomacy, we've got nothing. And it no longer will be America first. It's going to be America only. And then we're really, really in trouble.
All right. Thank you, Jerry. And this evening, we are excited to welcome back again Mr. Dan Van Vechten as he comes back up, and friends and associates as they come on up. How's it going, guys? So this is, Dan, is this your third appearance with us? Second one. Okay, yeah, you were with us very early on when we started.
And you're going to get paid exactly what you did in the first appearance.
So tell us what you've been up to, and if you wouldn't mind introducing your friends to us tonight. They've been with us, too, a few times.
Yeah.
Yep.
To my left is Easy Tom Eby playing bass. And
Yeah.
he's been here as the featured artist at one point.
Sure.
And then this is Hank Becker over here. And he's been here as the featured artist and may have brought his band, the Rubber Knife Gang, before.
Yep.
So that's what I've been up to lately.
Awesome.
Is bands have a way of losing members and finding new ones.
Trading. It's like
Yes,
baseball
trade-
teams.
Yep,
We're going to
that's what
switch
we
out
do.
free agent.
So we traded in the off season.
Very cool. So what do you have for us for this evening?
Well, we have two original songs. This first one's called Stringtown.
Excellent.
And Stringtown, the Kentucky, like northern Kentucky people often know where it is, but if you take the Anderson Ferry and cross over into Kentucky, Stringtown's a little town where it lands. Mm-hmm. And one night after a gig, I had a friend with a convertible show up, and I was like, "Oh man, that's cool." And she said, "You want to drive it?"
Yeah.
So that was.
Was
the
it a
road we took.
Maserati though?
No, it was an old.
Loser.
Again, man of the people, Jerry Springer.
It was an old Jeep Renegade.
Nice.
Power's out, we are surrounded by fireflies. Let's take your ragtop for a ride. Shift down through Stringtown, drift like a rodeo. Mud ties weren't designed to ride the roads. It's like a dream, burying me away. It's like a dream, our midnight fantasy, make up the story as we go. Hiding in plain view of the west side from Kentucky, shimmering off of the Ohio, just like a dream, burying me away. Just like a dream, burying me away. We were looking for religion, we'd play the radio, all the AM stations swear they know. But my heaven's here with you, and the moon over Kentucky, shimmering off of the Ohio, just like a dream, ferrying me away, just like a dream, ferrying me away, just like a dream, drifting through Stringtown.
Woo.
Thanks.
So I know, Dan, you have your own group that you normally play with. What about you guys? What about you, gentlemen? Who are you with, or are you kind of floating around everywhere?
I play with.
Oh, sorry. Didn't realize that.
Get over here then. I play bass with a band called Black Mountain Throwdown, sometimes a band called Twig and Leaf.
Cool.
And then I have my own project, the Easy Tom Eby Band.
Yeah.
I used to call it The Experience because you had to be over 50. Then I relaxed the rule.
Very cool. Very cool.
I am still with the Rubber Knife Gang. We just don't play a lot because our bass player is living in Germany right now.
Difficult.
We're talking about recording a third album or fourth album, I guess. And I'm just happy to hang out with my friends and play music.
Heck
And I'm here to get paid.
There you go.
You'll get what Gene gets.
Have fun with that.
And I get what I deserve.
And that's very accurate. Very accurate. All right, Dan, what do you have for us next, dear?
This one is called Salt Mine. And when I was here the first time, it was because I was active in the songwriting group that the folk school did. This was a songwriting exercise. The topic was salt. And somewhere that weekend, I'd gone into a local bar and heard somebody ask one of his friends, "Hey man, how you doing?" He goes, "Work, make money, spend money." So I wrote that down, and that became the song. So I wrote down the chorus so you guys can sing along if you want to. You'll hear it the first time, and then we'll do the chorus a couple more times. Money, save money, repeat, work, make money, spend money, repeat, talk a little, drink a little, love a little, eat, run a little, read a little, play a little, sleep, simple, short and sweet. Laugh a little, cry a little, love a little more. Clean a little, fix a little, practice your guitar. Finish unfinished songs. Work, make money, save money, repeat. Work, make money, spend money, repeat. Don't let this salt mine get you salty. Find good protection for your shoes. Every day, be a good man. Do your best. Pay your dues. Work. Make money. Save money. Repeat. Work. Make money, spend money, repeat.
Great song.
It was a great song, yeah. Dan, tell us where we can check out some more of your music, your websites, and if you guys want to jump in with yours as well.
Yeah, danvanvechtenmusic.com. That song is on an album called Get Right, which is for sale in the Folk School Coffee Parlor.
Whoop, whoop.
Super.
Yeah.
So yeah, check these guys out.
But I'm saving, so I can't spend the money.
When I first wrote it down, I said make money, save money, or spend money, and then I realized I wrote it down backwards, and that was bad advice. So, save it first,
Oops.
spend it later.
Well, Dan, thanks for being here again
Yeah.
tonight, you guys.
Yeah.
It's always
You
a
guys are
treat.
great.
Yeah.
Really great.
Always fun to have you. And well, I think the first time you were here, we were still singing Goodnight Irene, weren't we? So we're
Yeah.
going Down by the Riverside
been a
this
while.
time.
Yeah.
Did I say last time that I these phones can do a lot of things, but if we turned your face upside down, you'd have a whole head of hair.
Yeah. When the humidity's really bad, I look like one of those iron shaving guys.
I just kept thinking the whole time. I said,
It's like the little, the magnetic thing, the little mustache.
it's horrible.
You all ready?
Yeah.
And yeah, Jerry's gonna sing with you.
Down by the riverside.
Down by the riverside.
lay down my heavy load down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. I'm gonna lay down my heavy load down by the riverside. I'm gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. 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 Ain't gonna study war no more.
Gonna lay down my sword and shield
Down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside.
I'm gonna lay down my sword and shield
down by the riverside,